We
It's
talked enough. We talked enough for like what for all day yesterday. This is Shane's time to just go.
Yeah,
Just go.
yeah.
yeah.
Um,
Oh,
and
thanks.
Scoop, are you set? Are you live right now as well? Yep, I can see that. Good, good, good.
Me, yeah, on Instagram, yeah, I'm live.
Yeah, good, good. Along with Scoop, Brandon, Shane, and Robert, myself. Scoop got a cat, so he's going to be extra quiet today. A
Yeah,
cat with a wonderful name, by the way. What's the
I'm
name,
trying to keep
Scoop?
I'm trying to keep my voice down because she was behind the couch for 5 hours and she just like emerged like a half hour ago. Her name is Pringles.
What an amazing name for a cat.
I
I love
I
it.
did not
Unbelievable.
I did not name her. This was the family who had her is having her stay with me for an indefinite period of time. Um,
Bequeath the cat to you.
yeah, so they named her Pringles. So I'm like, you know what? I've never had a cat before. We're just gonna keep it simple.
We're just gonna, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I thought
she's like
That's a great name.
when you messaged about a cat, I was like, is this guy going to the vet or something? I just didn't read it clearly. And then when I heard you speak, I was like, he's being extra quiet today. And I was like, did we
yeah.
break his voice last night? Like, what happened? And then
No,
he's
my
like, I
voice.
got a
No,
cat.
yeah, no, my voice was fine. I like this cat can't be like more like bigger than like that. So because of that, like everything has spooked her since the moment she came out from behind the couch. So I'm just trying to not like overwhelm her if I can help it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Shane, what were your reactions to Thursday and Sunday?
Well, God, I'm trying to remember. This week has been a whirlwind. Thursday, I didn't watch it live because um, my team had a game that night, not Friday.
for
Dumbest thing
some
ever.
reason, we have high school football on a Thursday night.
Yeah. In all my years of playing and coaching, I say all my years. It's been like 10. Still, that's a decent amount. I've never
That's a good
had
amount of time.
never had a Thursday game.
And you
So
have two. You have another one later in the year.
yeah, we have two this year. I think I've had 2 Saturdays throughout all those years, but never a Thursday. I mean, now I have 2 Thursdays this year. Like, what are we doing? Anyways, we were playing the number 4 team in state, and we lost by only 3. Which
That's amazing.
honestly, I was not upset about it. I mean, that's the closest they've been played all season. So it kind of it was a good experience. I think for both teams, really. I mean, because they were definitely a little rattled over on their sideline. I could tell they were breathing a little heavier. Um, but but they were good dudes. They were real classy. Very. It was a kind of small town team, so just big farmers' kids and just like nice country dudes. Um, but then that night, I I watched some highlights of the game because I'm leaving the stadium, and one of the other coaches said San Francisco won. I was like, huh? I mean, I was like, there's really no how, because like on one hand you have the Rams who are mostly healthy, and you have the Niners who are mostly injured, and we all know what happens when Kyle loses even one or two of his premier pieces. It's just the whole team's in shambles, usually. But that was not the case this Thursday. Mac Jones, I think, I don't think he was ever as bad as most people thought. I mean, just. I mean, let me. Okay. I was never super high on him to begin with. Like, coming out of the draft, I thought he'd just be, like a Tua or a Kirk Cousins type of guy, and I think I think he probably is that in the right system. And it looked like he was going to be that his first year in New England. And then they decide to give him a defensive coach, Matt Patricia, as his offensive coordinator. And
still dumb.
Surprise, surprise, the dude started playing terribly. So, anyways, seems like every year now we have, we have a guy that started off in a less than ideal situation, and then he goes to a new team with better coaching, gets a shot, and he looks like a franchise quarterback, even if it doesn't last. It's just, it's like he's good for a couple years at least. I mean, it kind of started in 19. You had Tannehill. Then, Geno, Baker, Darnold this year. Seems like Daniel Jones. I feel like next year, that's probably going to be Mac. We'll see once free agency rolls around, which, that's thinking way down the line, obviously, but, just kind of where guys end up and whatnot. But, yeah, so, I hate that the Niners won as a Seahawks fan, but, but I love it for.
Blame Kyron Williams, even though I'm a huge Kyron Williams guy. But speaking of Seattle, that was a big win on game on Sunday for Seattle.
Yeah, no. Well, what I was gonna say is, I hate as a Seahawks fan that the Niners won, but I love it for their backups, since it's kind of second string young guys who are trying to prove themselves or whatever. It's like, that's cool. But yes.
Seattle almost won, I should say.
They almost won. And I feel like, it's not one of those situations where I'm like, oh, they should have won. And, it's like, no, I feel like Tampa was the better team by just that much. Obviously, these defenses, particularly in the back end, were both pretty banged up. And that obviously had a big effect on the outcome of this game. But in general, when we look at both of these teams, year to year, I feel like going into the season, we kind of looked at Seattle, at least I did, and same with Tampa. I looked at them and I was like, well, they're going to have great defenses, but on offense, they're not going to be bad, but we'll see. But so far, I really don't have that feeling with either of these offenses. I'm like, oh, they both look pretty great. Overall, though, it was a fun game. Despite the outcome, it was, it was great. And I think, Baker and Darnold Baker already had for sure, but Darnold now is, I think, to me, like, solidified himself as the guy in Seattle, at least for the next couple of years. And it's just, I think it goes to show the power of a quarterback and a good offensive coordinator or just offensive play caller in general. Because I think Seattle offensively had a lot more talent last year, but when you have Ryan Grubb in charge, who obviously didn't know what he was doing at the pro level, it makes a big difference because NFL, well, football, but especially the NFL, is a coaching sport. So, yeah, let's see. That's what I'll have on that one. Yeah, I mean, really fun weekend, whatever, of games. I mean, there were some duds, obviously, Cowboys, Jets. But that was a big yikes. And Cardinals, Titans. I mean,
what the hell was that?
That was just. I mean, that looked like a Pop Warner game. Like, it was just so sloppy, and I mean, my high school kids execute more clean than that. Like, come on.
Yeah. Anything on the Mariners?
But I mean, you tied the series up, so I'll take that, I guess. But
doing better than we are.
I'll tell you. Well, yeah. I'll tell you what, though. After that first game, I was like, I told you guys in the chat. I was like, yeah, don't win game one at home against a rookie pitcher or anything like that. That's why would you do something so silly?
We honestly shouldn't have won on Sunday with Skubal pitching that well.
Well, yeah, but I mean that to me that just shows how good. And this has been the case throughout the year, really the last few years with Seattle. Just how good their pitching and defense is, because that's what has carried them here. That and their home runs, and I mean, they'd, you ask them to. They're kind of. It's like a football team who plays great defense and has the ability to, throw a bunch of bombs for touchdowns, whatever. But like, you want them to take a 5-6 minute drive, being very meticulous. Not going to happen. That's what they feel like to me, and that's what they have felt like for the last 3 or 4 years here.
Yeah.
But anyways, I digress. Yeah, I mean, I thought after that, I was like, oh, great, this isn't looking terrific, but then they have Skubal, and they win that, and I'm like, okay. Baseball is just a strange game, but we'll see what happens in games 3 and 4. That's starting tomorrow, so in Detroit. Which, I think in baseball, for the playoffs, home field advantage isn't as strong as it is in other sports. At least, the last decade or so. It's the sport where I think we see the most, road upsets in the playoffs. But, I mean, we'll see. The crowd in Seattle is very lively and energetic, so, not. But, I don't know. They seem to be hip and happening the other night, so who knows? But anyways,
yeah,
that's about all I have on all the weekend things. Miami, what are you doing? What else is there? London, sorry for another crappy game.
Yeah. We have another one next week.
Thanks.
God damn it.
Thanks for the revolution.
Thanks for the revolution.
And how about New England speaking of England, how about New England beating Buffalo? That was pretty crazy.
Yeah, Stephon Diggs' revenge game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that fun?
So, yeah. And Baltimore, I'm out.
We're done. We are done. Sorry.
Yeah. Congrats, Pittsburgh. You win by default. Don't tell Adam I said that. Anyways.
I mean, he knows.
Now what are we up to?
All right. Show of hands, I guess. Is Jacksonville for real? Yes or no? Or show of hands. I guess. Let me know yes or no.
Can I do like a half? I'm not sold just
I'm leaning
yet.
towards yes.
Getting there. Yeah.
I'm leaning towards it. Scoop?
I'm half in, but I saw too much at the beginning of the year for me to be more than that right now.
Expand on that, Scoop. Beginning of the year, you weren't really there, and now we're like teetering, I guess.
Yeah, that's basically what I would say. Again, excuse me. I've had my trepidations before this season about Trevor Lawrence. Clearly we're seeing, what some elements of what we hoped and thought we would see from Hunter, which is, exciting to see for Jags and non-Jags fans alike, unless he's playing your team, I guess. And then we've got, I think we're getting a little more clarity as to what a Liam Cohen run team, both X and O's wise and otherwise, is supposed to look like identity wise. I think that we're starting to get a little bit more of a picture of that. But again, it's easier for me to feel like I know what a team is 5 weeks in if it's not their first year under their current structure. But with so much that has changed in this offseason going into this year, I feel like I need more time, and I feel like I need to see them go up against more teams before and also, let's keep this in mind, I don't think it's an insignificant thing that now you play 17 games rather than 16 games. So I think that, some of the teams, I think you're going to need to wait a little bit longer to really get a full foothold of what that's going to look like. Based on where they're at right now, do I like them more after a game like this, than I did a couple weeks ago? Yeah, kind of. But at the same time, and we've said this, I feel like we've said this too many times on this show for me to say it again, but I'm just going to say it. A game like this doesn't tell me a ton about what I'm supposed to know about you, of what I do and don't like about you. When you're playing a team that the Chiefs have just looked more vulnerable this year than they have in 15 years. Mm-hmm. So with that, I mean, beating the Chiefs has never told me less about what you are as a team. So, or I shouldn't say never, but since before Eric Fisher was the first overall pick. So with that all being said, I'm immense respect for not just the fact that they won today, but how they won. Some of the big plays that they were able to pull off, that definitely impresses me. So the manner in which they won this definitely caught my attention in some capacity. Being able to put up 24 in the second half. So I'm not saying that I learned nothing about them from today, but did I learn as much about them as I would have in literally any of the last 15 years had they played this game against the Chiefs? No.
Jags next, I guess, let's say 4 weeks. At home against Seattle, in London against the Rams, then a bye week, then at the Raiders and at the Texans. The biggest thing for me, Trevor Lawrence wasn't 100% perfect today. Some of the decision-making is a little rough. And I still feel like this offense, the play calling isn't entirely there. Brandon, do you agree?
I mean, that's pretty obvious when the game-winning touchdown is him getting stepped on by his own offensive lineman, and then instead of getting back up cleanly, proceeds to fall again. So literally looks like a freaking Bambi trying to walk, a newborn deer. and somehow still scored. That's the most is that even a word? Ungraceful, uncoordinated
Yeah, no, that's what it is.
ever.
Uncoordinated. Yeah, there you
Like,
go.
Yeah,
like you know, the play calling just still isn't great. I mean, it still feels like their offense just still feels forced. I guess is the best way to say it.
that's actually a
Like,
great way to put it. I think that's fair. I like that a lot. I think that's the word I was thinking of,
like
Yeah,
or that
nothing,
I missed.
nothing comes easy to that offense. There's nothing where it's like they need a big throw, they'll get it. They
yeah.
need like
There's no like
they,
natural flow to it.
like they were down to third and long, shooting themselves in the foot at the end of that game, and it took a bomb to Brian Thomas Jr. on an absolute dot to save the game. Like it's not like they were moving cleanly down the field. And the thing is, they really haven't done that all season. It's been like, one step forward, two steps back with that offense, and then they'll hit a big play, then they'll commit, then they'll shoot themselves in the foot, take a bad sack, bad turnover, whatever it is, and then it's like one good drive, one bad drive, one good play, one bad. It's like it's not consistent. It's too choppy. It just feels like they're trying to. It's like everything feels like a struggle for them, and I mean that's why I said I'm like halfway in on the Jags because they're 4-1. But we said it yesterday on the show. All these 4-1 teams don't look 4-1. So like, it's like I'm looking at like what they did. And listen, you can only play on a schedule. I get that, but they beat a crappy Panthers team. They lost to the Bengals, who basically didn't have Joe Burrow for 3 quarters in that game. They barely beat the Texans. They beat the ICU Niners, and they beat. And I don't think the Niners are. I don't think the Niners are a 4-1 football team either. I think they're just getting kind of lucky in these games. I mean, we saw that with the Rams game. 2 Kyren Williams fumbles was the difference, especially the fumble late. And then today it's like, yeah, they beat the Chiefs. If this was like 3 years ago, I'd be like, okay, that's a statement win. The 2025 Chiefs are not a statement win. The 2025 Chiefs are terrible. So I don't. And the thing is, like I said, it was an uncoordinated touchdown and a very sloppy game-winning drive that they pulled out of their ass to win it. And then not for nothing, but they were down 14-0 in this game. Then they were up 21-14. Then they were down 28-24. Like it was never pretty. It was never clean. Especially like once they got the lead, it still wasn't clean. So, and I mean, if they don't get that pick 6, they don't win this game. So their defense kind of had to come alive a little bit after getting rocked early. So the big test for me is the next 2 weeks. What do you do against Seattle, who's a little better this year than they have in a while? And what do you do against the Rams? Because I still believe the Rams are the best team in the NFC West. So I look at that and I'm like, those 2 games next 2 weeks, that will tell me where the Jaguars stand. That will tell me if I'm still halfway in on them or if I'm like fully raising my hand saying, yeah, I'm in on them.
Yeah. Shane, what's your feelings on Jacksonville? Is Shane muted for you guys?
You're muted.
Just restart if you need to.
What's going on?
Oh, static. You're static.
Oh my goodness gracious!
One moment. Quick pause. Brandon,
God,
why do you feel? Brandon, why do you feel the Rams are the best team in the NFC West over the Seahawks right now?
I just think right now, when I'm looking at that division, I look at it and I go, like, the Niners have won their games all pretty much, but it feels like, by like 4 points or less.
And again, massively injured as well.
And like I mean, it's like they're not winning their games. The other teams are shooting themselves in the foot, committing multiple turnovers in these games. So it's like the Niners shouldn't be. They should be 1-4, not 4-1. So it's like I don't think the Niners are legit. And when it comes to Seattle, I like Seattle, but they're still like strong. Like it looks better, but just like the Rams have the most. I mean, they're the healthiest team in that division. I think. Like I like
Shane.
their. There you go. I think you're back. But
Hello.
are you still muted?
All right, finish up, Brandon. How you feel about Seattle right now?
Yeah, I like what Seattle's doing. Don't get me wrong, but just those two teams on paper, I like the Rams more. I trust Matt Stafford more than I trust Sam Darnold. I always kind of have. And then I just think that I mean they're two Kyron Williams fumbles. Like that guy has butterfingers for hands, has cinder block for hands. I like I they're literally a blown game from him away from being 4-1. And then I really think they're the best team in the NFC West. So that's the only knock on the Rams so far is pretty much just A, Kyron Williams, and B, I mean, we talked about them forcing the ball a lot to Puka, but the thing is, Matt Stafford can. I mean, that's what their game plan is. But Matt Stafford can throw the ball around to other guys if he needs to, and I know he can. So I'm not really worried about the offense. I'm just worried about Kyron Williams, and then I, you know, they're a little bit conservative when they get a decent enough lead in games, but I I don't think the Niners injuries are gonna that I don't think the ICU Niners are gonna go on like the Cinderella run where they I mean that's what they are, Scoop. I mean I don't think they're gonna go on I just don't think they're gonna go on a run where like they can keep winning games being this heavily injured. And I mean the Cardinals are finished. I don't give a crap about them anymore the rest of the year. Seattle to me is a little up and down right now. And I mean, so are the Rams, but I like the Rams' talent more than Seattle. So I think by process of elimination, I like the Rams the most still in that division.
Yeah, Shane, do you want to continue on how you feel about the NFC West and then go on to how you feel about Jacksonville?
Yeah, I mean, I think I do agree that the Niners are getting a little lucky, but it's also like Brandon said, usually that doesn't last too long, especially when you're as injured as they are. Um, I do, I do think, and I mean, looking at San Francisco, their schedule looks a little tougher now than it did in the off season, just because there are certain teams that are playing a lot better that we weren't really expecting. Um, but yeah, so I think, I think San Francisco, Seattle, and LA will. I think they'll all kind of be in the mix for the division until the very end. And whoever comes out on top, I don't know. We'll see. But either way, I don't see San Francisco winning in January, whereas Seattle or LA, I can see. Maybe not multiple games, but like a game. Especially Seattle. I could see Seattle winning a wild card. I could see LA winning a wild card and maybe a divisional round. But San Fran feels like a first round exit to me. So, assuming they even make it, I mean, we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, just because, it's the age old expression that is not an expression at all. It's just something that we talk about sometimes, where, it's year to year, the 7 out of 8 divisions are won by the team with the best coach and quarterback duo. Regardless of all the other talent on the team or in the rest of the division. That's just how it works out most years. And of any head coach quarterback combination in this division, I think Stafford McVay is the safest bet of any of them. So
Yeah.
it sure as hell is not Gannon and Kyler Murray. So that's
No, Scoop, you're muted. Sorry, you're muted. Go ahead and unmute yourself there. You're still muted. Oh no. Nah.
Still can't hear you. Oh no, we lost another.
Oh,
we lost
no.
another one.
We lost another soul. But just restart, Scoop, if you need to. But Shane, how are you feeling on Jacksonville?
Yeah, my thing with Jacksonville is I think. So when you say, are they for real? What exactly is your definition of for real?
Are they better than the Colts?
Oh, no.
No.
Like, can they
if
win this division?
They could. I don't think they will. But they could. Because if for real means a playoff team, probably yes. I would.
Yeah,
say,
I'm not saying they're like a Super Bowl
towards
contender,
yes.
like some people might say tonight. Some people might go that crazy.
See, if it means a playoff win, then no.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they would. I don't know, but I don't. It's kind of early to tell.
Scoop, can we hear you?
Testing.
Yes.
Very good.
Okay, Scoop.
That was really starting to piss me off. What were you saying?
No, I don't know why that happened. It's okay. Okay, which team is better to you right now, Jacksonville or the Colts?
Colts.
Okay. See, everyone said Colts.
Yeah.
They just have a far better roster, top to bottom.
They have a better roster, and also we saw not only did we see a bit of some of that resurgence from Daniel Jones, but we saw what happened this other day when they're not going to lean on Daniel Jones, and when they put it heavily into the hands of Jonathan Taylor, he can go and I think a lot of us left him for washed up or left him for a little bit long in the tooth. He can still put it down and get it done on the ground if you need to rely on him more heavily. So and then of course I think that we all know the coaching ability of Coach Steichen. I think that most of us would agree that he's at least the second best coach in that division right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're not putting Callahan ahead of him, and I think you could make the argument between him and DeMeco Ryans. But I haven't seen anything to put Liam Cohen ahead of him yet, so that's where I'm getting my at least top two from.
Yeah. Anything else on Jacksonville, Shane?
Yeah. My thing with Jacksonville so far is like the reason I hesitate with them is because yes, they've won 4 games, and that's great, but they have yet to win a game where they really controlled the game.
Convincingly.
And sure, you could say,
yes.
Right, and you could say, they beat the Panthers by 2 scores. It's like, okay, but it's the Panthers and it's week 1. Like, weird stuff happens week
exactly.
1. I don't care. Because they've been winning games, but it's not because they controlled the game. It was because things happened and they responded.
Yeah.
They
responded by stumbling over and scoring a touchdown. Yeah.
And granted, they've responded well. Obviously, 4-1. But it's like that's to me the mark of the difference between a good team and a great team is like a good team they can do that, but a great team is just like they can make it so that, any decent team can come in there and they'd be like, no, this is our game, and just wipe the floor with them. They set the tone. I've yet to see them do that. So that's, to me, that's really what is holding them back. And granted, it's early. I mean, it's we're only 5 weeks in. We haven't really seen. I don't know if we've seen anybody do that yet. But probably I just would have to think about it. But anyways, so yeah, it's still early. That answer could definitely change, but as of right now, I think I see Jacksonville as probably a wild card team.
That's fair.
I think looks like we're only getting probably one team out of the North for the playoffs, and then we'll, I think, probably get 2 out of the West, maybe 2 out of the East. So then that leaves 2 from the South. So them and Indy maybe. So yeah, I mean that's so a playoff team maybe, but do they win in the playoffs? We'll see. I mean, they won.
Yeah.
They won the wild card a couple of years ago when they went on that insane run in the second half of the season, but that was what 3-4 years ago. So
You know what it is?
a little
It's
different
like,
now, but
you look at like Trevor Lawrence. We're talking about like how it's like he's still like mistake ridden. Like even just look at the numbers. He's like outside of tonight because he completed 72% of his passes tonight. But it's like he only has one game of multiple passing touchdowns this year, and it was the game they lost against the Bengals because they just were not. He took 2 interceptions in that game also. But then he either had, so that's the only game where he's got multiple. He had 3 in that game, but he has 6 on the season. So in 4 games, he only has 3 touchdown passes, and he's got 5 interceptions on the season, and he's completing 60% of his throws. That's just not good enough. That's not going to win you a playoff game. Like you can't. He's got to. I'm not saying he has to be a world beater, but you can't. You got to do more than just one passing touchdown, a pick, and then completing 57% of your passes. That's just not good enough. That's not going to win you a game. Like you can get away with maybe a pick if you're throwing 2 or 3 touchdown passes, not if you're throwing 1 and you're only completing almost half your passes. Like that's just not gonna. It's not going to get it done. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so Shane, I introduced this a couple weeks back. Now that you're here, I'm going to bring it back for you. We did this thing called Panic Meter. So 1 means you're not panicked. 10 means you are extremely panicked about this particular team. Kansas City Chiefs. Where are we rating them here?
One's not at all. 10 is very.
Yep. 10 is, oh no.
I'm gonna go with the 5. I mean, they had a couple, rough first couple weeks, but they've definitely turned things around and played considerably better. And as we know, they're not always amazing in September. So, it's, a couple of years ago, not last year, but the year before, it's like we were looking at them and it was like, oh, they look terrible. And this and that. And then they won the Super Bowl. So, I mean, I feel like they're one of those teams that's just like, you can't really count them out until they are out. So, I mean, yeah, it doesn't look great, but at the same time, it's like, well, it's the Chiefs. I mean, it seems like they always figure out some way to make things work. So and either way, it's like it's not like they're getting blown out or anything in these games they lose. So yeah, so I'll say 5.
Scoop, where are you rating them?
Give me a 7.5. Because I like I agree and disagree with some of what Shane said. Like for example, I for example, the point as to a lot of their losses have not typically been all that wide of margin, but last year a lot of their wins weren't that wide of margin either. So I would say that because I think sometimes we see year to year we talk about how that kind of tends to, if one team is getting a lot of close wins in a year, typically it kind of revert or regresses the following year, and then vice versa. And the main reason why I don't have them higher is because they have Reed as head coach and Mahomes at quarterback. But I mean, even the two games that they won, they beat the Baltimore Ravens, which are looking more and more like a fraud team every week. They beat the New York Giants, who made a change at quarterback now and brought in Jackson Dart. I don't know why I blanked on that. So it just I am just struggling with elements of this that just feel disjointed. I don't disagree for a second that this team can, get right late in the season, and we've seen teams, not only the Chiefs, but we've seen teams like the Belichick Patriots. A lot of these teams that are considered to have those strong coach quarterback duos do tend to turn it on late in the season and then be able to go for a run at the right time. So I'm not in any way counting them out, but the next few weeks you've got the Lions this coming week, and then over the next few weeks, I mean, in theory, this schedule should be favorable to them. When you've got the Raiders, you've got the Commanders. We know the situation that's been there, recently with Daniels and company. We've got the Bills, who are looking themselves are looking, week to week, not the team that we thought they were. So this schedule should allow them to get some traction and kind of retread the tires a little bit in the next several weeks. But if I don't see them get some momentum, soon, then I think going into that bye week after week 9, you start to have a lot of questions about this team in the second half.
Yeah. Brandon, where are you at panic meter wise with Kansas City?
Yeah, I was going to say a 7, and I know it's Kansas City, but the only reason it's not like a 9, like, I don't know how true this is, but I had to look this up because I was just curious when we were talking about like their slow start. I don't know if this is true, but no team that's ever started 2-3 has won a Super Bowl. And for Kansas City, that's the goal, is to win a Super Bowl. It's not to just get there. And just by the way it looks through 5 weeks, how Patrick Mahomes just, for lack of a better word, looked terrible. And then you've got Travis Kelce, who literally looks every bit of his age at this point. This has got to be it for him. I think the window for them ends this year. I just because this is the last time I think they're going to have this team together. I can't see them having another year of this, knowing that it's on the decline. I think I was at a 7 just because as much as I like Andy Reid, I mean, their offense is not the world beaters that they were. They have started off 2-3 under Andy Reid in this era. They've back in 2021 they started off 2-3, but they lost the conference championship to the Bengals that year. I don't think they're going to get back to that even that far in the playoffs if they get in. And I just think that there's in the AFC right now just so many teams, and this is something that usually we don't say when it comes to Chiefs. So many teams right now look better than them. Like, Buffalo, despite all their struggles, is still 4-1. They look better. I think the Broncos look better, even though they're not great, but they're winning that division. they're probably the best in that division. We said they would be pretty much, and I think so far through 5 weeks they've been the best in that division. Uh, you know, I mean, I think they're pretty much on par with like the Chargers for that division right now, where it's like they don't look great. They've won a couple games, but they don't look great doing it. And I mean, you look at their schedule. I mean, they still have to play the Lions. They still have to play the Bills. They still have to play the Commanders. They still have to play their division. Like that. I mean, realistically, if they play this way like that they have been, those should all be losses. So, I mean, if you think about it, that way, it just feels like everything is really stacked up against them this year. I I feel like after next week, especially if the Lions if the Lions dominate them, which they shouldn't, because Lions Chiefs is like one of those games that everybody circles every year that those should be the good games. But if the Lions just dominate them and beat them by like 13, 14 points, then I'm gonna be at like a 9 with the Chiefs. I just can't see them starting off so poorly and then roaring back all of a sudden. Like I just don't see it. I don't think Pacheco is gonna last long as much as he's a talented runner. I look at him almost like Cam Scatterbo. It's like that guy feels like he's gonna be hitting a brick wall at some point, getting a concussion again. I mean, God forbid. It's just like I don't feel like the way Pacheco runs. I think his running style is just not gonna hold up. He's already been injured.
If only somebody had said all this.
Yeah. And that pains me to say as a guy that played, he played football in Jersey. He played at Rutgers. As much as I don't like Rutgers, I appreciate the Rutgers football guys. But I just don't. I look at them and I'm like, where's the talent on that team? It's not Patrick Mahomes this year. It's not Travis Kelce. They don't have a healthy wide receiver core. They don't have a running back like that. Pacheco's injuries are going to pile up at some point. You can't be a running back having that many, having some serious injury, concerns, and not worry about that going forward. Their defense is pretty much at this point. Their defense to me is just Trent McDuffie and nobody else.
And even McDuffie had some bad mistakes today too.
So just looking at it as a whole, you can't count them out because it is the Chiefs, and they still have, like we said, they've still got that core of, Spags, Andy Reid, Kelsey and Mahomes. But we said for the past 2 years, they're not what they used to be. They're not what they used to be. I mean, yeah, they won a Super Bowl 2 years ago, not being what they used to be. But last year, winning all those one-score games, yes, they made the Super Bowl, but then Philly exposed them for what they were, which for lack of a better word, was dog shit. It is what it is. And then, this year so far, they're still playing. Like, remember, Super Bowl losers also have a worse hangover than Super Bowl winners in some cases. So
In most
I just
cases.
think, yeah, I just think that when you just look at all the factors that are against them, I'm at a 7 right now because it's 5 weeks in. But after next week, and I think especially
We'll have to revisit this next week for sure.
yeah. And I definitely think that, Chiefs, Raiders, they should beat them, but then Commanders, Bills, Broncos, Colts, 4 straight weeks. Hell, even the Cowboys, like in Dallas, none of those games are easy. None of them. So if they don't in that 5-game stretch, pretty much in this next 6-game stretch, 7-game stretch, if they don't win like I would say at least 5 of those games, which right now seems like a tough task for them to go 5-2, but that's realistically probably what they'll have to do when they've started off 2-3. Because then at that point you'll end up being 7-5 and being in the thick of things. So if you don't win at least, I would say 5 games out of that, then I'm done with them. So I think next week if they get spanked by Detroit, then I'm at a 9.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Any other NFL stuff, or are we set for a week here?
I'll say I'll jump in. I'll jump in with this one real quick. I'm curious to see because I presume that they're going to start him again on Sunday. I'm curious to see going up against the Steelers because we talked earlier and we basically said I can't remember who it was, but somebody said congratulations to the Steelers on effectively winning the AFC North. I'm curious to see. That was Shane. That makes sense. I was. I'll be curious.
Brandon.
What happened?
It was Brandon who said that.
Oh, I can't keep track.
No, I said that.
No, it was Shane. That's why I said it was Shane.
Oh.
I said
Well,
congrats.
I
You
bet.
win by
Listen,
default.
I know we're tired, but come on.
I know less now that I did it half a minute ago. But so anyway, when I was talking about the game between the Steelers and the Browns this weekend, I'm curious to see what happens when Gabriel comes out. He makes another start. Even though they lost, I thought he didn't look bad this weekend for a rookie start. I thought that the coaching staff gave him a reasonable assignment, but didn't ask him to didn't ask him to be going out there and doing too much with the offense. So I want to see what happens this weekend when he has to go out and play the Steelers because I'm not going to jump the gun and say it could still be a 2-team division, but I am going to say that I think that they could at least be an interesting spoiler candidate down the road if they can get this thing right with Gabriel.
Yeah, I definitely hear that. All right. Let's do some Major League Baseball before we do our movie Leaving Las Vegas. 2-0 for both the Dodgers and the Brew Crew in Milwaukee. Scoop, are those series pretty much effectively done?
I think so. The Dodgers. I think a lot of people, myself included, were hoping that was going to be a little bit more of a series. I think that we thought that the Phillies were maybe going to be a little more competitive in this thing than they've been. And again, they tried to make it interesting at the end of the day. End of the game today, after the Dodgers put up a 4 spot in the 7th, the Phillies made it interesting, scoring 3 in between the 8th and the 9th. But obviously that didn't end up being enough. I think if there is a team that can come back on the Dodgers, it probably is the Phillies. So I don't want to call them out just yet. But, I mean, there's a reason why very few teams have come back from 2-0 down to win an ALDS or an NLDS. So I do think the Dodgers have effectively put themselves in position to advance to the NLCS. As for the Brewers, I think that they I think are even more convincingly, have pretty much wrapped this thing up. I thought this was a mismatch for myriad reasons. The Brewers, I've predicted multiple times to win the National League this year. They just have so many elements to them that they kind of feel like, we talk at times about how teams just feel like more than just a collection of talent. They just feel like a cohesive unit and a sort of, I've used this phrase before, sort of almost a team of destiny type of team. I've talked about the 2023 Rangers that way. I talked about the 2019 Nationals that way. And I kind of feel similarly about this team with the 2025 Brewers. I'm not saying that I think I am super confident they'll win the World Series, but I do currently have them as my team to beat in the National League. And quite honestly, what a fascinating discussion that opens up if with regard to things like the salary cap and salary floor this offseason, if the LA Dodgers get knocked off after so many years by the Milwaukee Brewers, who are notoriously run by one of the most notoriously penny pinching owners in Mark Attanasio.
Yeah. Brandon, anything on the NL side?
I mean, it's not over yet. So I'm not gonna say I told you so early. But I said once the postseason started, I said the Brewers are the best team in the National League. And I said they are by far, in my opinion. So I have them making the World Series. Unfortunately, on the AL side, the Yankees are toast. So I have no reason to believe anymore. But I still think when it comes to the NL, like, I don't think it's so much that the Dodgers are good. I think it's so much that it's just like what Shane said, when the postseason started, which we all knew already, that Philly is they're chokers. I don't. I like that's just what it is. Like, I thank God I'm only an Eagles fan and nothing else Philadelphia sports, because I would not be here right now otherwise. Um, so like I just Philadelphia every year. It's like watching that team with Bryce Harper and Trey Turner and Schwarber, and that good pitching staff. And every year it's the same story. Oh, they have a great roster. Oh, they have great pitching. Yeah, doesn't matter come postseason time. Doesn't matter. They all suck. So, it's like the Phillies to me are just like and how fitting also is it that everybody like early in the year for like the first like 2 months is like, oh yeah, we're heading towards Yankees Phillies World Series, Yankees Phillies, Yankees Phillies, Yankees Phillies. It's not even going to be close to that.
Can I follow up that with a question? So,
Yeah.
sorry.
No, I said go ahead.
No,
Oh,
go
okay.
ahead.
Because every year we look at kind of like these one or two surprise teams that they kind of fall flat on their face and they don't go nearly as expected in October. And again, I know that they just went to the World Series 3 years ago, but if they don't make some noise to try and or at least make this series more competitive, are we looking at a potential hot seat in Philadelphia with guys like Topper Thompson and David Dombrowski, and who's their GM, Preston Mattingly?
It's got to be close. I think it's got the conversations have to be had at this point.
I could see it.
Like we talk about on the Yankee side of things, right? How like Ken Rosenthal literally just said, if the Yankees don't at least make the ALCS, Aaron Boone could be fired and things could change in New York, especially after signing an extension.
Yeah, well, it's forget about don't at least get to or win the ALCS.
Yeah.
If you tomorrow you go out there and you get
swept.
butt rolled again,
Yep.
and you get swept out of the playoffs on your own home. I almost said home court, home field. I forgot what sport I was talking about for a second. But yeah, that just to me that's unacceptable. And I've defended Aaron Boone quite a bit, and I've defended Cashman quite a bit. But I don't care. I was scored 23-8 in the first two games. That's just unacceptable and indefensible by any metric. But yeah, I was. But yeah, I kind of had a similar thing when I was asking about the Phillies, because it's just, this is a team that they're not content with making the ALDS every year or making the NLCS every year. This is a team that has been in a World Series window for the last 4 years, and they are considered an NL favorite every single year. They almost have kind of become a little bit like the Dodgers of the 2010s, where they're always winning a ton of games in the regular season, but whenever it comes to the postseason, for some reason they lay a goose egg, and it kind of raised some questions for me as to whether or not guys like, are you okay? Guys like Thompson and Mattingly. Sorry,
The cat.
Watch.
Sorry, she just took off like a freaking bullet on my left side here. But yeah, so it was just something that came into my head, and then I don't know if you guys heard about it, but there was the controversy earlier about him, Thompson. I mean, calling for a bunt in a situation that could have changed the game, and basically the Dodgers played it perfectly, completely snuffed out the chance that they had at a rally later in the game. I mean, I've made my opinions known about bunting and why it's been phased out and all of that, but I think he's going to have to answer for that tonight, and if they don't come back and win this series, I think he's going to have to answer for it a lot more. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the Joe Girardi faux pas from the 2017 ALCS.
You know what I'm looking at? Like when I look at like the playoff just postseason bracket right now for the MLB, that was the only reason why I said the Brewers to me are a team that can win it all. When I look at the entire before the start of the postseason, I look at the entire field. Every team had question marks to me except for the Brewers. Like every team had some sort of issue, whether it was they can't hit or they can't pitch or their bullpen sucks or they just don't have the right, I think, managerial fit, whatever it is. Like like when I look at the Brewers, I mean, I just look at that team and I go, like, I don't see a single weakness anywhere. I don't. And I mean, it's no secret. I mean, they had the best record. They had the best record, in the NL this year. They they pretty much like steamrolled. Like once pretty much almost once the Yankees embarrassed them at Yankee Stadium, they flipped the switch and they just went on a tear. That's what
Yeah.
the season feels like. And I, for me, like that carries so much weight to look at a team that's that kind of hot, that has the best record in the NL. That's like, like I said, the Dodgers took a step back. They didn't look as good this year as they normally do. Then you look at, the Phillies, postseason chokers. That's why I didn't even care to even put them in my World Series conversation. I had Yankees Brewers as my World Series pick. At least hopefully I get half of it right at this point. But I don't like I just didn't take the Phillies seriously. I didn't take the Cubs seriously enough. Padres were a joke, like they seem to be every year. I don't care about the Padres. Uh, I don't look at that bracket and I'm like, okay, who matches up against the Brewers at this point on either side of the bracket? Well, nobody does. Like, Mariners don't to me. Detroit doesn't to me. The Yankees don't because they get in their own way and their bullpen is terrible and all these different things we talked about before. And then honestly, the Blue Jays probably, but even then, I think the Brewers top to bottom are better than the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about if you're going to talk about the Yankees and the issues with their bullpen. So I would not call Toronto's bullpen worlds better than ours.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not. It's just that our hitting makes them look like gems.
Yeah. Shane, what are your thoughts on this so far with the postseason?
My bad.
No, I mean, you're good. I think, I mean, the Brewers. I guess I was just a little hesitant with them because it's like they don't have. I mean, yes, they check all the boxes, they do everything right, but it's like it feels like they don't have that one guy who like really jumps out and who's like a quote unquote star player that's like can carry the team, and it's just like it kind of feels like, not that that's a bad thing, but it just sort of feels like it's like, okay, when they get to October, when they get to this point, there's going to be a big game situation where some veteran player who's more experienced in these big moments is going to outshine them, and like a Shohei or whoever, you name it. But I mean, we'll see. I mean, I think they're playing probably the easiest team that is remaining in the postseason. So it's not like it's the greatest challenge, but I mean,
could you make the argument though? Oh, sorry, I didn't.
No, go ahead.
Could you make the argument though that lack of that one star to run everything through could actually work to their benefit? Because you see some of these teams that I think it's so laden by whether it's one guy in their lineup or one pitcher or whatever, and if that guy's not running through, the whole operation falls apart. I kind of wonder if their ability to kind of that they have the depth they did, and they have these kind of different role players that they do on their roster, who are kind of play like they went and got guys who just fill specific roles. They aren't starred, but they do one specific thing very well, or they add one specific element very well. I kind of almost wonder if that's a bit of their secret sauce, is that they're not reliant on a specific superstar, and they instead are just kind of playing complementary baseball, I guess is the phrase that I would use. Yeah.
No, and I think that's a very fair assessment because, I don't like it when teams are reliant on one guy necessarily.
Right.
because that never works out. But like, I shouldn't say never. It usually doesn't.
Right.
Excuse me. But I guess the difference here is it's like, I mean, you can go through the Dodgers lineup. It's like, you ask somebody to name a Dodger. It's like Shohei, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman. You can go down the whole list of names. You ask an average casual baseball fan, name a Brewer, they'll be like,
Christian Yelich, and that's it.
Yeah, it's
Who
like
isn't the same Christian Yelich anyway?
He was good this year, though. He was really good this year.
He was.
The first name that came to my mind was Tessa Hira, and I don't even know if he still plays there anymore.
Oh, Jesus.
Exactly, yeah. So, I just worry about assuming them and the Dodgers advance to the NLCS, which, I mean, you never know, but it seems more likely than not at this point. Is there just unit of like B plus A minus guys will they be able to rise to the occasion against, your Shoheis, your Mookie Betts, that Yamamoto, their whole pitching staff. I mean, it's just,
Yeah, and the thing with the Dodgers too, Shane, that I keep thinking about, which it sounds so basic, right? It's simple baseball, but I think for the Dodgers it applies. It's like they can get hot like that. Doesn't matter what inning. You give them one run here, one run there. It's simple baseball analysis, really, but that's kind of how I feel when I'm watching the Dodgers. It's like, oh, here we go again. They did nothing for 4 innings, and now here's the 5th, here's the 6th. There we go.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think they can win many ways too, just because they have so much versatility all over the place. That's what happens when you have a several $100 million payroll, but hey, it's sometimes Mets. Anyways, the
Mets. You're not wrong.
What? I didn't say that. No. Anyways, so, but yeah, I mean, it's just, I think I could see Milwaukee, winning it and going to the World Series. But it's just, I don't know if they're playing a Dodgers team that's, as hot as they are right now, I'm like, I don't know. I hesitate. I'm like, I mean, I'd like to see Milwaukee go on.
We all would. We all would.
Yeah. I mean, we had the Dodgers in the World Series last. Yankees Dodgers. That's a great matchup. The series itself wasn't so great, but still, it was like, oh, this is cool. And now it's
I didn't think being in Game 3 could be so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, we have, it's like, do we want to see Dodgers versus, Blue Jays or Tigers or Mariners? Or, like,
no. They'll smack the crap out of them.
That is very true, yeah.
I'm still
but
the Tigers or all that. I'm still not.
Wait. Do we think the Dodgers would actually smack the Blue Jays?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. Because I don't.
Do they not have the pitching and bullpen? Is that what it is?
Because the Blue Jays don't have the pitching or the bullpen. The Dodgers do.
Yeah. And I'll go back to what Brandon and I said on WTS a couple months ago. What's beating the Yankees right now is not the Blue Jays; it's the Yankees.
Yeah.
I think really LA's biggest threat is Milwaukee. I think if they make it past them, they win. Same with Milwaukee. I think the World Series champion will be whoever wins the NLCS.
Yeah.
I think that's fair from what we've seen so far.
I think those are the two hottest and most complete teams in the league. I'd love to see my Mariners win, or even the Blue Jays. They're kind of an underdog, whatever. But I I don't see that happening. So
It would kill us. It would kill me and Scuba's Yankee fans to see another AL East team in recent history,
Yeah.
not the Yankees, win a World Series.
Yeah,
Oh, that would hurt.
yeah,
for the longest time, I was convinced that the AL East winner, like, or not the, I'm sorry, not the AL East winner, but the team from the AL East that went the furthest in the playoffs, I believed that team was going to end up being the team that won it all. But the Brewers are pesky, and also, I'll drop this real quick. Kudos to the Brewers for 2 years ago they had that whole faux pas with Corbin Burns in and whatever, and it led to him being traded, and everybody was up in arms. They're better without an ace top 10 pitcher in baseball, arguably, than they were with him. Like if that doesn't go to show that just because you have money doesn't mean you automatically have the advantage, I don't know what does.
But you know what it is though, with those teams that are like that. We talk about that they don't have they don't have the guy 1 through 9 in their lineup. They don't have the guy in terms of the pitching. But then here's the thing: when you don't have the guy with that kind of pressure, you can kind of just go out and play your game as if it's game 26 of the regular season, not game 7 of the World Series or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like when
Excuse
you
me.
don't have it's still pressure because you're still in the postseason, but
Yeah.
no one's expecting you to win. You're basically playing with house money.
Yeah.
So it's that's why with the Brewers it seems like it's coming just easy to them because it's just they are really good, but no one's talking about it. I've been talking about it since August, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just look at them and I'm like, they don't have to worry about one guy being the most important at bat of the game, or
Right.
at least 2 or 3 guys. It's like, okay, you have Christian Yelich, but it's not the same Yelich that it was in 18, 19 before
No,
pre-COVID.
we barely even hear about him at this point.
I mean, he did have a good year this year, but it's still.
Yeah, but not at the same level that he was when he was traded from Miami
Yeah.
or anywhere close to it.
Well, I mean, you go up and down. I mean, they listen. They honestly, their best player is their catcher. It's Contreras.
William Contreras, yeah.
So I look at that team and I go, okay, well, who's really good on that? Who is going to take over a game at the plate for them? Nobody. I mean, they didn't have a single. They only had one guy. They only had 2 guys in general that had 80 or more RBIs, which was Bryce Terang, who I actually like a lot.
I mean,
And then
you know that I hate that statistic, but go on.
yeah, but I'm saying the Yankees had a ton of guys with home runs and RBIs and all these different things. Higher OPS. Like the Brewers only have guys that have slightly above league average OPS or good enough OPS. They have guys that just aren't they're the proof to me. Like when I look at them, and it's I hate that. I mean, I know it's mostly true historically that the team that hits them a lot of home runs, the most home runs, will be the team at the end of the day left standing. That's usually how it goes. But they don't hit a lot of home runs. They just don't. And I mean, the thing is I like about the Brewers is they like all their hitters. Whenever I've seen a Brewers game, they just spray the ball around the ballpark. They're all just consistent hitters, if anything else. So I like that. I'd rather have guys that are 15 to 20 home run guys, but are batting 280, 290 with a decent OPS, than a guy that's 40 and 100 something, but's batting 220 with it's like.
Yeah.
I don't like the 3 true outcomes guys. I like the guys that are consistent hitters.
I don't.
So.
Oh, sorry.
No, so it's like, going up and down that list, it's like all those guys can pass the baton to the next guy. All those guys are not the guy. They're just a decent guy in a good lineup.
Mm-hmm.
And then the pitching is pretty much around the same thing. So it's like, when you can play that kind of free baseball and play for the guy next to you instead of worrying about like, oh yeah, I am the guy, like kind of thing. Because we talk about that with guys like Judge and Stanton and whatnot. Like, they know that they're the guy. It's the New York media, all this stuff. It's like Milwaukee is a small market team with, there's not all eyes on them, even though they had the best record in the NL. There's not all eyes on them. Everybody's like, Dodgers, 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 Dodgers. So it's like they're just sitting there basically, existing, for lack of a better word, playing with house money, and they're playing really good baseball, which they have been all year. That really does make a difference come postseason time.
Yeah, definitely. All
What were
right,
you
are
gonna say,
you?
Scoop?
Yeah, Scoop, if you wanted to finish.
Yeah, what are you
No, no, I was just fixing to say that because you were using the Brewers as a but keep and the one thing I will add that I think is worth keeping in mind as sort of an addendum there is that teams typically are going to craft a team as best as they can to play up to the strengths of where they play, unless you're the Colorado Rockies for some stupid reason. Um,
Yeah.
but so like again, the Yankees typically going after the left-handed power hitters. The Brewers historically have not been the biggest, not Comerica. What did I say? Miller Park has historically not been a great park for all-around offense. So that I think is part of the reason why you see them playing that way is because it's not a park that's super conducive to the type of offense that another park like a Great American Ballpark might be, or that so I think that might be part of it as well. It's not inherently that they can't. It's just sometimes it's teams like to, at least it seems to, more and more kind of get involved with things like park factors and kind of construct their team in a way that at least is best for where they're going to be playing 81 games a season. So I do have to wonder if that's a factor as to why they've constructed their lineup that way as well. I don't know if it's inherently sort of we're going to say screw the home run type of thing.
Yeah,
It's
Shane,
also
do
it's also
you have
it's also weird. Just thinking about it too. Like when I'm thinking about like the kind of guys they've had over the years that have been home run hitters, like pre-COVID Christian Yelich was like that, but
Yeah.
Like Prince Fielder was like that.
Oh wow, what a throwback that was!
Right, because he was
Love
launching
Prince.
he was launching homers left and right, and would have been a Hall of Famer in that damn ballpark. Yeah, that's not a hitter's ballpark.
Prince was one of the saddest retirements of my life.
Yeah, and then I
Why?
mean, listen,
Because he
the
was
neck
literally
injury.
he was like literally crying at his press conference because he couldn't play
Oh,
anymore
yeah.
because of his neck injury.
Yeah. And then then you've got well, I mean, listen, I know steroids, but they had Ryan Braun, like he was another one, like
I
mean,
love
they had to-
baseball. I love baseball. It's just, hey, well, roids, but this guy.
like I mean that's what it was. Like Ryan Braun is the biggest. Like we talk about like all the other guys being roids, but they were
Correct.
talented player. Like we talk about like talented guys that were on roids, which was like the guys in the '90s. Like A-Rod was talented but roids. Like Barry Bonds talented but roids at the end. In the prime of his career. Like all these guys talented but roids. Ryan Braun had no talent. That guy was straight up steroids. He was juiced to the gills, and then when he came off of it, he was terrible. So,
not to mention, he wasn't exactly the type of person that you could easily root for to begin with. The guy was just a straight up prick. I'm sorry.
Yeah. That guy was the biggest fraud in MLB history. I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
he was.
Shane, do you have anything else on baseball as a whole before we go on to your movie pick?
No, I'm just excited to see how it plays out.
Yeah,
But
definitely. Scared for the Mariners tomorrow. We'll say that. It's going to be...
Scared.
What?
You're scared the series is tied. We're scared because we're about to be swept in our home ballpark.
I'm not scared. I'm looking forward to it.
But by the way, why is the Mariners game at 1 p.m. Pacific? What the is that? All right, what?
Yeah, welcome. Well, listen, you guys got the later slot than we did. We had to watch the Yankees at 4 o'clock get smacked by Toronto like a rag doll. Like, come on.
Well, you're playing at 8.
Yeah. We're the night game now, not you. Suck it up. We dealt with it.
Yeah.
Now it's your turn.
Yeah, tomorrow it's 7 o'clock, well, Central Time, and then I guess that's today now. And then if it were to go to Game 4, that would be an hour earlier. And what are you?
It's too late tomorrow to start to watch the Yankee season end. It's too late.
All right. Shane, our movie Leaving Las Vegas, a Nicolas Cage classic.
Yeah, and kind of kind of an interesting one because it had a shoestring budget.
What was the budget on this?
Like $3 million.
Holy crap!
Yeah.
Hold on, I'll look for sure. Hold on.
Which
Yep. Yeah. It says 3.5 to 4 million, like in total.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it made $50 million at the box office. That's an amazing.
It's a good return. Good ROI, as they
You
say.
think?
Yeah. Yeah, they just made 10 times their money back. Anyways, yeah, no. So this movie. So originally, I wanted to do a movie about kind of a drama about a guy or woman, whoever, who was kind of depressed and just in a bad spot in life, and how they try to turn it around and are maybe successful, maybe not. In this case, not so much. But originally we were going to do Gran Torino. But I didn't totally want to do that one. It was just more of a placeholder. And Brandon was like, "No, we could do better than that." I was like, "You're right."
Yeah.
So,
I've seen it like 5 times. So yeah.
So have I. But yeah. Anyways, so so that was, I put out a few different choices, and you guys all wanted to do this one. Robert and Brandon did. Scoop wasn't consulted.
I banged the table for Nick Cage. I was like,
Brandon wanted Nick Cage, so we just did Nick Cage movie.
Yeah, it's just So, anyways, but I hadn't seen this movie for a while. It had been, I don't know, it had been several years, and then randomly over the summer, I watched it again this summer. I don't know why. I saw it on something. I don't remember what, and I was like, "Oh, I forgot about that movie," and so I turned it on. Yeah, this is a movie that it's very unique for a Nicolas Cage type of role. I think normally, you think of Nick Cage and you think of like National Treasure, and usually just kind of like
exactly
corny stuff. Not that National Treasure is corny, but it's just
Ghost Rider. I love Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider, yeah. Oh God,
Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
Please bring him back for Doomsday. Please bring him back for Doomsday or Secret Wars or both.
Or don't. Anyways,
damn it! Please.
No. So. Yeah. Anyways, that's where was I going with this? Oh yes. So
we are so burnt.
But this movie, though, if I remember correctly, he won an Oscar for it.
Yes, he did, for Best Actor.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, Nick Cage isn't going to win an Oscar for Best Cinematography. And
by the way, no, Elizabeth Shue was nominated for Best Actress as well. She didn't win it, but she was nominated for it.
But yeah, I think this shows, the range that he does have. And I just, I really, I had a different perspective when I saw it the more recent time, because when I first watched it, it was kind of in the midst of, I'm not going to go into too much detail about this for personal, family reasons, but I had some family members who were struggling with alcoholism, bad like this, and even had a few family members who sort of drank themselves to death, kind of also like this. Spoilers. Not in my immediate family, thank God, but still. And this is a very not only his performance of it, but just the writing of it and the habits he falls into and his behavior is very, very accurate for people going through that.
Yeah, Nick Cage literally was like, I studied my mannerisms when I was super drunk. He literally recorded himself drunk for this movie.
Which is kind of method, but I would expect nothing less from the Cage.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, and it's I look at this movie and it is a it doesn't exactly go. A lot of these kind of romantic drama tragedy sort of stories are very predictable. This one I don't feel like is super predictable. I mean, there are a few things
not at all.
But I really loved the scene when when they first meet, when he pays to have this whatever time with the woman who was a prostitute,
Sarah, yeah.
And I was like, okay, it's going to be some scene about them, hooking up and whatever. And he's, oh, this is how depressed he is. He's stooped to this level and doing, but it's like, no, they just talk. And I thought that was really interesting. And to me, that's one of the better parts of the film, because it kind of, they have this deep conversation, and you almost see like a flicker of hope. But then ending with them having an ultimatum of, I won't talk about your drinking if you don't judge my career. I was like, that's going to be the end of them.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of was. I mean, they end on good terms, but it's like...
They end on him dying, essentially.
Well, not essentially. Yes, he does die, but they're...
Well, they don't show that he dies, but yeah.
Yeah. But, I mean, we all know. But their last moments together are good, relatively at least. So, that's, I just think this is a very moving film. It's a very, I think, realistic look on the way that alcoholism can ruin people's lives in many different ways. I mean, you have this movie, not going to get too into this, but I mean, look what happened this weekend with Mark Sanchez. Like, I mean, the list goes on. I only say that because it's relevant.
It unfortunately is quite relevant for this movie, so it's pretty apropos, honestly.
Yeah,
and unfortunately for the guy who got absolutely beat up by him, which was awful.
Yeah, no, and I was just gonna quick shout out to that guy who was assaulted. That's that was brutal, awful. But he seems to be doing okay, so that's good.
Yeah, that is good.
It's great, actually. It's not good. Anyways, back to the movie.
Yeah.
This is, I really love, just the perspective that it shows and all that. I think really the only downside is just that it's, and this is, this is nitpicky for sure, but it's definitely more character driven than plot driven, which is fine. I think it works sometimes. I think I think it works for the most part here, but it can just it can create some very slow pacing, and it kind of loses me at times, particularly like in the first half. Um, but and not to mention it's some of the things that happen. And this isn't a comment on the film itself. It's more just my own experiences. It's like, brings up some bad memories. but
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
otherwise, I think, just as a film itself, really great performances all around. And, very authentic kind of portrayal of addiction in general, and especially alcohol. Very, very deep characters, and and just kind of the essence of like Vegas and the whole drinking, gambling scene going on down there, So, I think I'll give it a B plus. I think.
Yeah. I think it's
somewhere
fair.
in there.
Yeah. Scoop, would you like to continue this week on this film?
Sure. So, I had scarcely heard of the film, knew very little about it, and I actually, for those, I'm not sure if anybody knows this, but there's a song that came out. It was like 20 some odd years ago by Sheryl Crow called "Leaving Las Vegas," and it. So when I was little, I heard that song a lot. I didn't know if there was any connection to this film, and I did a little bit of research on the matter, and apparently, there was some dialogue that happened between her and the people who were doing the film. And there's a whole backstory. I couldn't even get into it because there's about it's about like an hour's worth of research that I did, and I went down a whole rabbit hole because I do that with every movie. It seems like at this point that we do,
which is what you should do. That's good.
Yeah. I in fact, while I'm talking, I'm going to pull up the genius.com thing that I found because that had probably the most succinct way of discussing it, but then when it came to the movie itself, the opening scene, I really didn't know what I was in for because you start talking about, and again, when we got to the part about her profession and whatnot, I thought it was going to be again one of those more kind of films that was more again about his sort of downward spiral and kind of this whole and when they had the conversation, I honestly it went a different direction than I thought. I kind of thought it would be more along the lines of like I'll work on I'll clean up from my drinking if we can get you oriented to a better career. Like I thought it was going to be like the exact opposite type of dialogue than they actually had. But and then I finally got it pulled up here, the Sheryl Crow song, because it does mention surprisingly to me this it says right here. Because this is the movie stems from a novel that was written as well, and John O'Brien was one of the writers of the novels. He describes him as a struggling author at the time. O'Brien said they could use the title of his novel for the song as long as he was given credit, which seemed only reasonable. However, this seemingly minor issue would have tragic consequences. About 2 months before the song was released as a single, Crow performed the song on The Late Show with David Letterman, who asked her if leaving Las Vegas was autobiographical in any way. Crow said the song was autobiographical, but failed to acknowledge the contributions of Barrowald and especially O'Brien, who were both furious about the indiscretion. The incident seemed to so incite O'Brien that he committed on April 10th, 1994.
Awful.
So when I was thinking about that, and then it said, this has never been officially confirmed or denied. Still, O'Brien's drove Barrowald to distance himself from Crow afterwards. So I just kind of, thought, that has the same name as the song that I had no idea that there was such a rich connection between the two. So the more I went down that rabbit hole, the more I unearthed a lot more than I ever expected to. But in terms of the film, obviously, it deals with some of the more raw and sort of sobering. I don't mean to be using that word loosely, but sobering realities in terms of what some of these things can bring upon not only the individuals but the people that try to be, on a more intimate level with them. And I thought that this is one of the only films that I remember seeing Nicolas Cage in, but I can certainly see why he's such a highly regarded actor in films like that. And yeah, I don't have a ton more to say that wasn't already said much better than I can put into words. But I really appreciated this one, and it definitely took me on a ride that was a lot different from what I expected. I expected this to be, when I hear like drinking and prostitution, think it's going to go in a much different direction. And then when I heard them talking about sort of this agreement to not talk about one thing and not talk about the other thing, it's like, okay, you can kind of start to see where the unwinding is gonna come from, because in my mind I would have thought it'd be the opposite. I would have thought it would be them working to help each other get clean, from lack of a better word, and obviously it was anything but that.
Yeah. What's your rating, Scoop?
My rating, I'll say B also. Or no, I'm sorry. Shane said B plus, but yeah, I'll still say B. I loved the way that it was done. The opening scene completely was not not what I expected it to go into. So definitely took me on a adventure there. I don't have anything really against negative to say about it, but I just don't think I know this. I don't think I know this type of thing well enough to really say, oh, this is a sure A or this is a sure F. So I'm going to keep my ratings for the most part when we do these things fairly moderate, because I think that people here know a lot more about those nuances than I do.
Yeah. Brandon, go ahead.
I went into this obviously, banging the table with my fist about wanting to do a Nick Cage movie. I know he stars in this, but this is an Elizabeth Shue vehicle. This isn't his movie. This is her movie.
And they're both phenomenal in it. Like
they both are.
Yeah.
But it's like after the first 30, 40 minutes, this becomes her movie for the last hour. Like this is not about him anymore. We basically don't see a lot of him after the first half of this movie. We see mostly her. And honestly, it's like, as I'm watching, like literally the second that she's pretty much introduced and we find out obviously what she does for work, I was like, oh boy, I was like, this is another one of those classic tropes, the hooker with a heart narrative, and I'm like, but the thing is that it's much more than that. Like most of those kinds of stories end on a more kind of either positive note or at least happier note, but like somber but still kind of happier note. This one is just dark straight through from start to finish. It's
incredibly
dark. Like this is a movie, like this is hard to do a movie like this, because this isn't a movie that you can like. This is not for the faint of heart. This movie, it's not. And
yeah, I would not recommend watching it twice in 2 months.
And yeah, and it's
like I just did.
And like it's like if you're finding something to watch, like if you're like, this isn't a movie that you would watch if you're bored. This isn't a movie that you would watch if you were like in a good mood, and this definitely shouldn't be a movie that you should watch if you're in a bad mood, because it'll make you feel worse.
Absolutely not. Yeah,
like
no way.
So it's like, this is a movie you kind of have to do like just for this, like just almost like as like an experiment, as like a movie study kind of thing. This isn't like
exactly what we're doing, basically.
Yeah. No, this is a movie buff movie. There's no question.
Yeah, like there's certain movies that it's like, when we do it every week, it's like, oh, we enjoy it. It's like I'm not watching it because it's like we have to. That's part of it, but I also watching it because I want to. Then I'm like, oh boy, Nick Cage, and I'm like, Oh boy, Nick Cage.
Cage.
Like I'm like, oh Jesus, that went downhill fast. Well,
So
it
this
was already
definitely wasn't what you were expecting for a Nick Cage
no.
movie.
And then it's like, you hear the words for a genre of like romantic drama, and you're like, okay, it's gonna be kind of corny, kind of sappy, but still be sad, and like how all rom drams are. This is just like it. This is just it starts downhill and keeps going downhill.
Just keeps going.
It
Yeah.
just keeps going, and like if it was any further downhill, it'd be in the core of the earth. But it's like
That's a movie we won't do.
Yeah, thank God.
That's a movie.
The core.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
Core?
Terrible. It's
Yeah.
awful.
I didn't know that was a movie. I only know it as an Eric Clapton song.
What the hell?
Oh boy.
I'll tell you more about it when Brandon stops talking.
What happened?
Oh shoot!
That almost sounds insulting.
Well, that kind of does now that I say it. It wasn't meant to be.
That tone, my
Oh
God.
Jesus! This movie looks awful.
The tone.
Holy!
Rob's
Wait!
looking it up.
I'm looking it up. The Earth's inner core has stopped spinning due to an unknown force, leading to the rapid deterioration of the planet's magnetic field.
Yes.
This
The atmosphere-
reminds me of the plot I was gonna send. I want to send to Roland Emmerich, which is that I had this idea that the entire world just decides to nuke each other at one moment, and we just follow this divorced guy and his kids running around in this nuked planet.
Where did that last part come from?
Because every Roland Emmerich film is a divorced dad with kids.
Oh, okay.
And my favorite genre of music is divorced dad rock. So what does that tell you? But,
Roland Emmerich, use my idea. You can add something crazy in the middle, like he always does.
good
We
God.
should do 2012.
Boy,
That's like
no.
the most
Oh,
Roland
dear
Emmerich
God.
Roland Emmerich
No.
movie.
The day we
dear
do
God.
that movie is the day I quit the show.
Yeah,
I
no,
was
we're
gonna
not
say,
doing that movie.
please let's not do 2012.
No, please
Anyway,
no.
so Brandon, what
It's
were you
so
saying?
bad. It's so bad. Brandon, continue.
Yeah. So dark movie. Because we just went on a roller coaster of emotions in about less than 2 minutes. Yeah. So with this, like this isn't going to be like overall. It's not going to be like an 8 or a 9 for me. But I like there's some kind of moments where I almost had to like rewind it because I'm like the cuts were so sharp and abrupt.
There was one that I was like, "What in the world?"
I was like, what just happened here? But then again, it is a very artsy kind of film. It has, it's got that style to it, so I get it. The first time that we see like Elizabeth Shue talking to like the unseen therapist, I was like, where'd that come from? What's going on here? Like, I was like, this is not where she is right now. Where is she? What's that cut for?
It makes sense as you go through the movie, but it's
Yeah,
jarring
and-
at the beginning.
But that's also why I say that this movie is about her. It's not about Nick Cage, it's about her. She's telling this story pretty much through her experience with him. So, like, especially in that second half. So, it's pretty much her movie. And, I mean, Nick, everybody knows somebody that struggles with any kind of addiction, not just alcohol, but any kind of addictions. But like I always say, like for me, like my dad wasn't like a hard liquor drinker, but my dad did struggle with alcohol himself. And I mean, over the years, it didn't take a toll on him mentally, but it took a toll on him just in his physical appearance.
Did that
And-
change how you watched this film? Did it affect how you watched it?
No, because I wasn't thinking about it as I watched it, and it's already been so many years since my dad passed. And the thing is, my like Nick Cage in this is like a very sloppy, like very erratic drunk. My dad was not that way. My dad was like if anything, he was a happier version of himself, even when he was drunk. Very sentimental kind of person. But like not like slurring his speech, like blackout drunk. But my dad would drink, and my mom struggled with it when she was in her 20s and 30s. Uh, not so much, as she's in her mid 40s now, mid slash entering her late 40s. Um, but seeing both my parents go through it and seeing family members I know kind of go through it and whatnot, it definitely changes how you would view a movie like this. You know, Even though I obviously, I'm thankful that I haven't, that at least in my family, that alcoholism hasn't been like bad to that extent of what that movie shows. But you know, but it's definitely been a prevalent thing in my family, which is why for me myself, I've never had a sip of alcohol, not once in my life, and I don't want to. Um, but I I look at that and I go like, Jesus, like that is literally just, especially for Nick Cage. It's like he was already having problems because he already said his wife early in the movie, his wife had left him. He's already, work is taking its toll on him. Like he's literally already having a series of bad days. This has been going on for a while, and then what finally makes him snap is losing his job. And then, you know, when you've lost everything, it's easy for someone because it's like at some point everybody feels that way at some point in their life where it's like where you just feel like you've lost everything, and what's the point at that point? And that's pretty much what he goes through. He's lost everything. Like in his mind. I mean, whether it's sober or intoxicated, it's like both his sober mind and his intoxicated mind. It's like there's nothing left to live for. There just isn't. There's nothing. There's nothing I can do here that I haven't done at this point, like, or that I haven't tried to do, or whatever it is. So it's like it's just being at your wits' end. Meanwhile, it's like it's the hooker with a heart of gold, trope for Elizabeth Shue's character, but it's at the same time it's she still sees kind of the good in things. Like even with her own kind of her own seedy kind of world that she's involved in, she still sees the good, at least whatever good there is. Like she still sees the silver lining of things. That, despite how bad things get, whereas Nick Cage doesn't. And that's pretty much the difference in their characters. They're both just on downward spirals, but one of them has that shred of like positivity left. The other one is just completely done with everything. And but it's funny because she sees that little shred of positivity in things, and yet she is the last shred of positivity in his life. So it's like it's kind of interesting that you have two people that are just both almost down, for lack of a better word, down and out. Actually, it's not word term, down and out. Um, but it's just like even together, it's like as a relationship, they're not obviously not the most stable. And a lot of that's because of their their basically this whole movie is just a trauma bonding like session. That's pretty
Yeah,
much what
it's
it is.
a 2 hour trauma bonding movie. Yeah,
Like that's pretty much what we've got here. It's like a trauma dump, trauma bonding movie, and I mean, it couldn't have been acted better. It could literally like the acting in this could not have been better. I mean, there were some times where I'm like, this is like so gritty, where I'm like, I'm debating if I should turn this off or not. Because I'm like, this almost feels like inappropriate to watch, and I'm like, Jesus, that's dark. Like, I don't mind it. I'm a grown man. I mean, we've all seen basically sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Like, who cares?
yeah.
But man, but for an actual movie with this kind of cast, that's dark. Like that is super dark,
It's so
and
different, right? It's so
it's
different.
it's way different. Like I'm saying, with rom drams, you don't see something like that in a rom dram. You don't see something like that in a hooker with a heart of gold trope, thing. Like you just don't see that. So that's like that's why it takes a completely left turn. Um,
Excuse
but
me.
that's why for me it's like because it's a hard watch and it's a difficult watch. I'm not gonna give it like an 8 or a 9. That feels too high. But I'll say just in terms of how it's acted, how kind of how artsy it is, but not too artsy to the point where I have no idea what's going on. And then Like just the fact that it really for the budget they had, this was really really like well done. I'm gonna say 7.5. I think that's good. So I'm fine with like a 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 7. Yeah, the acting is spectacular. I mean, that's what you go to, but it's also just like I mean, like I also like the music. I know it was repeated a lot, but I think it made
Oh,
sense. Obviously, it made
this
sense
is
for the budget.
that is exactly why like when the second I heard like the music in this movie, I'm like, oh, I know why Shane likes that. That's up his alley. I'm like, there it is, right there.
However, there's something about the music. Not only is it's not only like that because of the budget, but also, well, yes, because of the budget. The director didn't have money to hire a composer, so he composed the scores himself.
That's actually quite impressive.
Ooh,
So,
interesting.
yeah.
I don't think that's a bad thing.
So that's part of why it repeats a little bit and kind of,
Yeah,
Which
he was like,
which I for this kind of movie I was fine with, honestly.
yeah. I
And
mean,
then-
it's not the worst thing in the world.
No, it doesn't. I actually think of it more as a positive because I think it just adds to the vibe of what they were trying to do.
hmm
And then
Yeah.
just the scenery of the apartments, obviously the backdrop of Las Vegas. It's those little things that I think also make a massive difference to what they're trying to achieve. So
Yeah.
for me, yeah, I give it a 7, and yeah, the acting is just again, that's really what stands out. That's really what this conversation is about. Ultimately, is just how good, how good Elizabeth Shue and Nick Cage were in these roles because it's magnificent. Shane, I was going to ask you a question though before we go because I just saw this on the Wikipedia. They filmed in Super 16 millimeter instead of 35.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I was wondering what you're as a film guy who's directed, been behind the camera. Is that something you noticed? Do you find that interesting? What can you kind of add to that?
A little bit. I mean, it's just a little more grainy. That's pretty much all it is.
Yeah,
you know?
you can definitely feel that for sure.
And it's a pain in the ass to edit and to develop. That's for sure. The lower the number gets, I mean, like 70 millimeter films, like might as well be digital. Like it's that easy to process it, but yeah, but I mean, it's for budget reasons. I get it.
It also just makes sense for the aesthetic of the film, I felt.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, 16 millimeter that's the lowest you can get for color film. Any lower, it's black and white. So, that tells you everything you need to know. But yeah, like you said, I feel like it works for this particular story and the setting, and like I don't think that 16 millimeter look. I don't think that works for a comedy movie set in Cleveland. You know what I mean? Or whatever genre you want it to be. But like for a kind of a drama in Vegas, it's like
seedy,
it just
dirty.
yeah.
Yeah.
It works. It works. So anyways, it's yeah. I like it. I mean, normally wouldn't recommend 16 millimeter, but but in this case, I didn't mind it.
Yeah. So it's a 7 for me. I really liked it. I don't know where this is going. This probably will place middle of the pack for me once we end.
Yeah.
I would guess. I assume that'll be the case for most of us. But yeah, what do we have next week, Shane?
I already know what my top 3 are.
Well, yeah, because you made the list.
No, I know, but I just in my head though I was thinking about it. I was like, but then over the last week I was like, okay, yeah, it's gonna be these 3. I'm I won't tell you what though.
Did you have that same thought the other years that we've done this, where it's like you know what your top 3 are every year? Early
The
on,
first year, yes. I knew that Whiplash and Collateral were going to be my top 2.
yeah, you made that well known. You said it like every week after we did a movie, like, yep, Flash, Collateral, nothing's beating it. Done.
But I mean, you know. But last year, no. I think I had Sicario finish 2. I did not think it was going to be 2. I thought it would probably be like 5, 6, something like that.
It was like 2. It was like 2 for like me and you, wasn't it, for both of us? 2 or 3.
I think.
Yeah.
No, I think you had it 1.
Did I? Oh, that's right, I did.
Yeah. And then I had it 2, and Robert had it higher. Like
I think like 4 or 5 or something.
4, yeah, something like that. But Robert and I both had Downfall at number 1.
Well, I had Tenet and then Downfall, but yes.
No, because we both had Downfall number 1.
Oh yeah, and then I put Tenet at 2. Yeah.
Oh my God! Roll back the footage. Roll the tape.
No. That's right. That's right.
Well, I mean, I have the document open with all our rankings, so.
Yes.
So there we go.
See it again.
Now, as we're talking about it, I thought I'd pull it up.
So
anyways,
Shane, what movie are we doing next week?
Next week, so.
Can we go from the sad and or gritty stuff? Are we turning the corner on that, or is it still that look on your face tells me that it's not going to be okay?
Just one more.
All right, fine.
That's
fine.
it. I didn't mean for it to be like this. We had to do Nick Cage for Brandon, so it's
yes. and I didn't want to do a gun shooty Nick Cage.
No.
We're not doing Con Air or Face Off. We're not doing stuff like this. Like, no.
So, when this guy broke into the movie scene as a writer, he had kind of a neo-Western trilogy that he made for his first 3 films. There was Sicario, there was Hell or High Water. We did both of those last year. And now we're doing the 3rd and final movie of that bunch from Taylor Sheridan. Does anybody know it?
Not immediately.
I'm surprised Rob doesn't.
Wind River.
I've never seen it. So
Wind River. It's his.
Wait, did you say Taylor Sheridan?
Yeah.
From Yellowstone?
Yep.
Yeah, the Yellowstone guy.
Yellowstone. 1883 or what's it?
Yeah,
called?
1883 and then 1923.
1923. Landman. Now. He also made that.
He also made that this movie for next week.
Yeah, he also made that movie about Angelina Jolie being a firefighter, but it was terrible, so we don't talk about that.
He was in Sons of Anarchy, wasn't he?
Maybe.
I think so.
I don't know. He was originally an actor, and then he's really in the last 10 years has made the transition to writer director.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad he did, because I think he's much better at that than acting. No offense to the guy, but but yeah. So this is a well, I won't go into detail, but I believe it's his 3rd movie that he wrote, and I think this was this was the first movie he directed. He did not direct those first 2; he just wrote them. But he wrote and directed this one. So,
MCU alums Jeremy Renner and Elizabeth Olsen, fantastic.
Yeah. It's set in Wyoming on a Native American reservation.
That's cool.
And it is cool. So that's all I will say about it. And then the week after that, Scoop, we're doing your movie.
Yes.
Which is what? What are we doing the week
My
after?
Cousin Vinny.
My Cousin Vinny.
Oh,
We're doing My Cousin. Yes. I've never seen it. I'm excited.
You're in for a treat.
This is my favorite movie ever.
You are going to love this, Rob. You're going to love
I've never seen it, so I'm very excited.
That's such a perfect one to switch us away from the heavier stuff.
We're going
Yes.
completely in the opposite direction, and I love it.
And then after that, we have one heavy movie, and then back to more lighthearted.
That's great. Wait,
Fine.
so who did we all have at 1 last year? Because you said you had the document open.
I don't know. I wasn't
So
here.
it was. Oh, of course, now I closed it. Hold on. So.
I
Okay,
can't wait
so
to see Scoops rankings this year too.
So Brandon. Oh wait. Hold on.
Mine
That's the wrong
was
document.
Sicario at 1.
Brandon had Sicario at 1.
Excuse me.
Wait, no. Print layout. There we go. Brandon. Yeah, Brandon had Sicario at 1. Robert, you and I had Downfall at 1. You had 10 at 2.
Yeah, makes sense. I ruined the entire rankings because
because you force fed Tenet down our throats because you were like, I love this movie. I know nobody else will. That's why.
Yeah, so you had 10 at number 2. Brandon had it 16. I had it 20.
How many movies?
By the way, Scoop, this is out of 21 movies.
Yeah,
So,
21. We do the whole calendar.
So 16 is pretty low, relatively speaking.
Yeah, I couldn't. That's what I was trying to figure out is like how many movies you all watched for it to be like at 16 and 20.
Yeah, so 16 and 20 out of 21.
Out of 21. Okay, so
and Robert had 2.
Yeah, I love that movie.
The whole list was messed up because of putting Tenet down.
Well, see, this is the thing, though. There was last year. There was really only there. Yeah, there really was only one movie that we like. Well, I guess 2 that we pretty much unanimously agreed on. Sicario. Brandon had 1. I had 2. Robert had 9. Robert had it 9. So I mean, not super high, but in the top half.
Yeah.
And then Gladiator. You guys both had 5. I had it 4.
Yeah.
And then Eternal Sunshine. Yeah. We all had. Robert, you had 6. Brandon 7. I had it 10.
And then I would imagine Venom 2 was like last for everybody.
And then that was the unanimous crap. Yeah, last place. And we all had.
Now I'm tempted to want to watch that because it's like, why do you guys have it so low?
Venom.
Because Venom was Rob's passion project for the year. That's why.
Well, yeah, because it was right before Venom 3 came out, and I was like, we should watch Venom 2. And it was also technically well, it wasn't our Halloween movie, but it was close to Halloween.
Yeah, but so like,
Frick, what are we doing for Halloween? What horror movie are we fucking doing?
The Sixth Sense.
I just watched
so good.
I just watched. My friend came over on Saturday night unexpectedly, and she made me watch. What's that movie called? What's it?
Beetlejuice?
Yeah, Beetlejuice.
You haven't seen the new one or the old one?
There's 2.
Oh my
god! I haven't seen the first one either. To be fair, I need to.
I don't know if this is the old one or the new one. How would I?
But there's, I mean, just looking at our rankings, like, it's like 2 of us will like a movie, and then one of us had it lower, or vice versa. 2 of us had it lower, and then one of us had it high. Like Rango, Robert and I had 3 and 4, but Brandon had 14.
Yeah.
Or Gone Girl. Robert and I had.
That's a good movie.
Robert and I had it 3 and 6, respectfully, and Brandon had it 20.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't like it.
I just double checked. It's the one that had Alec Baldwin and Michael Keaton. So I'm guessing it's the old one.
It's the original.
That's the old one. Yeah, it's the original. And quick movie thing. Brandon, Scoop, and I guess Brandon and Scoop. You guys have to decide what Christmas movie we're doing because Shane isn't here. I keep telling you guys we have to decide on a Christmas movie, and we haven't yet. So we need to. And
I mean, this depends. Are we? I mean, I know it's early. We have time, But are we feeling comedic? Are we feeling lighthearted, holiday spirit? What are we feeling this year?
Just
I have no idea.
the only thing that I can think of is please don't choose Elf.
I
No.
can't believe you hate Elf.
I can't stand that movie.
That's probably my favorite Christmas movie. I'm
Well,
not even gonna lie.
I just don't like Will Ferrell. So
Okay, that's fair enough. Yep,
That's
it's
wait,
it's
listen,
not
those are
great,
still-
but it's fair.
those are some fighting words here because
I watch the other guys, and you will like Will Ferrell.
the
Well,
other
I'm
guys,
just-
okay. I'll look that up.
I'm biased because Will Ferrell is a part owner of a restaurant and bar in Robert and I's small little hometown that we live
Oh,
in.
cool. That's cool.
So he
Which
comes
one?
and hangs Church Key in Edmonds.
Ah, yes, Church Key.
Here I'm doxing us.
No,
But
It's fine.
anyways,
I doxed
Yeah,
myself. I doxed myself how many times I live by saying I live 15 minutes from MetLife Stadium.
yeah.
Like,
To be fair, it is a big town where we live, so it's
Yeah.
you know.
yeah.
but yeah. So just
Um,
FYI, guys, just make some decision, and also don't choose Red One because Brandon and I had to watch
We
it
are-
last year.
No,
I
yeah.
don't even know what that is.
Never. No, good. You don't want to. Good.
You don't
do
want
not-
to.
You do
We
not
hated
want to.
it.
Rob and I did a watch along of that, and we literally want to pass out from both laughter and just mental exhaustion from how stupid the movie was.
10 minutes into it,
Oh boy.
it made a frick ton of money last year. By the way,
Oh, you know what I was thinking? I think it should be in the running. Bad Santa.
Ooh, that's a good.
Bad Santa.
I'm not against that. I'm not
That's a good
against
one.
that.
That's a good one.
I'm not against that at all. Yeah, we'll figure it out in the next couple of months. Oh yeah, and another thing, wear Halloween costumes on October 30th. That's our Halloween show. So you guys
You'll
have to
see
come
mine.
in
You'll see mine. You'll see
some
mine.
kind of mask or costume or something.
Oh boy.
I have to think. Okay.
Man,
You
this
gotta
is the
come
first
and
time
see
that I
something.
realized I was going to have to dress up this year.
You don't have to go crazy.
You don't have to go crazy.
I was
Brandon
baby
was a-
driver last year.
Brandon was a bee that looked like Elton John.
Yeah, I knew that was
really
coming.
weird.
I was just
Well,
going to
here-
say that.
Well, let me tell you something funny. I've been both a bee and Elton John.
Oh Jesus! I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's funny.
And that's not an
People-
insult at Elton John. I love Elton John. We all love Elton.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
people,
same here. He's one of my favorite pianists ever.
He's
people.
one of my top
people-
10
I-
favorite musicians ever. Yeah.
Love it.
I had to laugh when Rob called me both a B and Elton John. I mean, he's partially right on the B thing, but when people on the street in my area during Halloween understood what I was immediately, and then I come on stream later that night, and Rob's like, "Who are you, Elton John?" I'm like, "No."
Wait, what were you? What were you actually?
Well, I think I told you, but you don't. Well, I don't know if you listen to his music, but I was basically, I was not it's not a mascot. It's like I was the I was like a representative, like kind of like the mascot thing for the '90s rap group Wu-Tang Clan, because they called them like their nickname.
Oh, yeah, okay. I know what the Wu Tang.
Yeah, the nickname is the Killer Bees.
Yeah.
So I literally, my mom gave me like the old school like 80s 90s like Adidas hat, like bucket hat thing. I had like a gold chain, whatever it was, glasses, things like that. But then I actually wore like bee wings, so it was like I actually looked like a killer bee.
Got it. Okay.
So
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
was I Deadpool last year? I think I did Deadpool.
I just sent our photo in the group chat.
I don't want to see it again.
I do.
No,
Where's
no.
It's an amazing photo.
When you
Yeah,
when
you
when
were.
kept,
Yeah,
when
you
kept
were
saying,
like you were Baby Driver, weren't you?
yeah, I was baby driver.
Yeah.
I was Deadpool with glasses.
And
I don't even know where those masks are. To be honest,
But no, when you kept saying I was a mascot, I was so close to saying the mascot for Honey Nut Cheerios.
You know what's funny? That's why I had to correct myself, because I'm like, it's not a mascot. It's kind of like, but it's like
Okay.
a caricature.
I was
thing.
like, no, refrain. Let him finish his thought.
Well, no, because you know what I was thinking when I said mascot. I was off my tired brain, I was thinking Tony the Tiger, and I was like, oh no, but that's not it. But I don't know anymore. I'm so tired. Oh my god. Oh, I can't.
Oh my god.
It's like once we hit the 1 to 2 o'clock hour in our shows, it's like even if we're 2 hours in, because we've just crossed the 2 hour mark. I swear, once we hit like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning East Coast time, my brain becomes a pile of mush. It just there's nothing
Same.
cohesive. Nothing cohesive. It starts in my brain and comes
It's
through.
probably
my
the best time for the show because nothing cohesive comes out of all of our brains.
No.
Yeah, that's good for viewership.
It is good. All right. Well, for Shane, for Scoop, for Brandon, and for Robert, myself, we'll see you back here on Thursday for more Scoop and Brandon hate Kevin Patullo.
Yes. I
For
hate
Eagles
Kevin Patullo
Giants.
fan club.
Peace,
Yes.
love, and rock and roll, everybody.
Yes. We'll see you for after Eagles Giants. We'll see you then. Peace.
All right, see
Good
ya.
night, y'all.
Night, guys.